We'll go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the REDX podcast, where we're bringing you experts out there in the field to give us the best information to help you be successful in your real estate business. Super excited. We have Deric, Mr. Lipski, with us today. Deric, thanks for being on. We're glad that
you're welcome.
We're excited to have you. And Deric's going to talk to us all about our 2022, the trends that we're seeing out there, and how you can set yourself up for success with some simple tips and tricks. As always, just a couple little housekeeping items. It's a participatory event. So if you've got a question or a comment, you just chat it in. We'll get to it throughout the show. And if we don't get to it there, we'll follow up with you later. And make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, that you're on our Facebook page so you know about all the upcoming podcasts. Or you can subscribe at theredx.com/podcast to know about all of our upcoming podcasts. But enough with that. Let's get to Deric. Deric, most people do know you, but why don't you, for those that don't, give us a quick introduction, and then let's start talking about what we can do in 2022.
Hey, as usual, it's your boy Deric coming to you live from inside the REDX studios. Actually, I'm at my own house, not the REDX studios, but I'm here with my boy Robert. We're going to be talking this year about what's on the, what's ahead of us for 2022. What things am I doing different than maybe what you're doing different? Last year, as you guys know, if you guys know me, I do a lot of expired calls. Last year, there wasn't a lot of expireds to call. So, what do we do differently? Who are we calling now? How are we effectively getting business in this marketplace? What systems are we using? And what things do we think we need to add to that this year to unlock the inventory that's going to be out there? Because everyone's saying the same thing. Inventory is low. It's all locked up. How do we unlock that? And that's what some things I think we need to cover today for the agents that are listening. Hopefully give some people some tips on how to get some new business and what they need to do differently this year that they didn't do last year.
Yep, and everyone knows you already. The comments that are coming in are wondering if you need some tobacco or cigarette, and so they know they're here to support you. And
I just got Red Bull. That's it. Red Bull. That's all I need is Red Bull.
Just Red Bull.
I got my boy in the background. My Halloween. This little thing in the background. My kids put in the window when I was doing this. They're like, "Dad, put this in the window." Usually during Halloween, I put this in everyone's window at least once or something just to mess with them. So at nighttime, you just see a dude peeking at you. Yeah. And then we have my boy Donald over there.
We got well decorated.
Yes,
well, Deric, we talked a little before we came on, and it's no mystery what's on these agents' minds. Everyone that's tuning in is, this market, we haven't seen a sustained low inventory market like this before. Like you mentioned, expireds are low. We can even the talks of inflation and interest rates, that's what's heavy on everyone's mind before we even get to selling houses. So why don't we maybe start there with some of the trends we see and then jump into what you're doing to combat that and continue to be successful?
Yeah, well, so I pulled some numbers for you guys today, so we'd have some information we could share, because when we get in front of these buyers and sellers, they're wondering, like, how does inflation affect us? How does interest rates affect us? And buyers are scared because they go, this looks like 2008. Should I even buy? So in order to be, is that too loud for you guys? Am I okay?
No, you're great. Shout all you want.
Yeah, it's different when you do these Zoom calls versus an auditorium of realtors who are like, whoa, this guy is, too many Red Bulls. So we want to be able to, people who can give information, because if we can give information and set ourselves apart differently from everybody else, we'll be in that situation where we can either get the sale or get the listing. And that's kind of what I think a lot of agents watching this want to know. Like, what are we doing differently? What are you going to do differently? And what were your results last year? So last year I did 51 transaction sides. I did about $20 million myself. There's not a team of people. It's just kind of me, cradle to grave. So I've done a lot of that myself. What am I planning to do this year differently? Well, I'm certainly going to add some things to it that are out there. But one of the things I was watching and these stats come from Tom Ferry. I'm definitely a Ferry guy. I love Mike. I love Tom. These guys are all what I base my business on for the last 21 years, is making calls and doing social media and getting things done. And one of the things Tom was talking about the other day was he had pulled 5 of the top MLSs to find out who's doing what. And what he found out was the top 1% of the agents are doing 17% of the business out there. 17%, they're capturing that market. The The top 5% of the agents are doing 37%. The top 10% are doing 51%, and the top 25 are doing 73% of this business. So it shows a consumer flight to quality, right? People know they want someone who knows what the hell they're doing, right? And I'm not saying new agents can't do that as well. You just have to be informed of this market. Listen, just because I've done this for 21 years doesn't mean I know everything. And the market changes every year. So as we're in January, we're both only in this 1 month. So I can say I'm 21 years in this, but we're both seeing the same data, right? So you don't have to be in this for a long time to go, I know what's happening with this market. So people are scared about inflation, right? Let's talk about the first one, inflation. Do you know, Rob, what do you think? And it's hard. I want to address the whole crowd, but we can't. So I just addressed you in this question.
Good.
What do you think inflation does in general? What's your basic understanding of inflation?
That your cost of goods goes up across the board.
Right. And your money gets diluted, right?
Yep.
So to acquire a gallon of milk, normally it would cost $2.50. Today, it's closer to $4. That $1.50 is inflation. Now people call it COVID and the ships are backed up off of shore and there's no milking. The cows can't get us the milk in time. But the reality of this is we're going through inflation. So what do you think would happen to house prices if inflation went up?
That they'd also go up.
That's right. And so over the last 50 years that we've been measuring inflation, the housing has always beat inflation a little bit, because if a home that's worth $500,000 has an inflation markup of 3%, that home now is probably worth $540,000, right? On average. Please, economists, don't get mad that I'm not using solid numbers. We're just plucking them out of the air, but it means it's worth more by some percentage, whatever that is. So yes, if inflation goes up, house prices will rise. But now, what do interest rates do to that? What are interest rates going to do to the market that's out there? Is it going to stop it? I don't think so. We don't have a lot of inventory out there, but there's a lot of these sellers who just don't know what to do and buyers who don't know what to do. So they're all looking like, what is next? What's coming next? We're going to see a great year. So I don't want you guys to get scared. Yep. But the agents that are in the know are going to be the ones that are going to be on the go and who are going to be doing the deals, that top 1%. So you've got to get an education of what's going on. You got to go to these major coaches who are sharing this information, like go to tomferry.com and go log on and see what you can fool around with and get some information about what's happening, because the agents that can show these slides and over the last couple of years are going to take sellers that are on the fence of selling and go, yeah, let's do that. And you're also going to answer the questions that most sellers have, like, yeah, I can sell, but what do you think the next question they're going to ask me, Rob, is?
Where do I go?
Where do I go? Where am I? There's no inventory. Where am I going to go? And that's a question we're all facing. So the agents that are able to unlock that inventory are going to go, what are you looking for? I may have it. If you work for a big office that doesn't like, so I work for Keller Williams. And in my area, Keller Williams is the big bull in this area, right? We have 165 agents out of this one office, and out of this one office, we control a lot of the surrounding towns. So I know about a lot of inventory before it hits the market because of that situation. Now, if you're in a smaller office that doesn't have as much market share, well, you better be aware of what's going on and make friends with everybody that does have good market share, because you want to know what's coming up so you can tell yourselves, hey, this 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom ranch that's on the market, it's going to be coming on at $585. In the next 2 weeks, we might be able to get in before it even hits market and not fight that competition. So some things that you want to do is make a lot of friends with agents who are doing a lot of business.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Reagan from Indiana, she says, the agents in the know are on the go. Great advice. And I thought that was a great line. And I love what you're laying out here, because the reality, some might call it bad news, but the reality is that we're in this low inventory and rising inflation market. But the positive news is what you said at the beginning. Like, if we go back and look at the numbers last year, houses sold at a record rate. We sold more houses last year than any other year. So while
6.5 million, 6.5 million, brother.
So
the highest
ever. And so inventory is low, but someone's selling houses, and it might as well be you, right?
We're selling more houses than we have before. There's inventory out there. We've sold it. It just means when it comes on, it's going fast, right?
And that's good news, because that means as an agent, if I'm sitting here worried about 2022, the good news is there are houses to be sold, and there are plenty of them to be sold. And so let's talk about that as an agent then, Deric. How do I get to be that agent in the know so that I can be on the go? And what are you doing different than in 2022? What tools are you using? And maybe similar strategies before, but things that are shifting to then be the agent that gets that business this year?
So it's a good question. There's a lot of things you can do to try to increase more business. And again, part of that is going to be coaching, get someone who's been doing it before and has ideas. Another part of it is actually putting things into action. So number one, you have to have your social media has to be up and running on all levels, all platforms, all the time. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, if you do something good, let everyone know. So when you guys sell a property, if you ever follow me, you know I promote that. I sold that property all over the place to the point where people in local towns are like, Mr. Sold? He sells everything. That guy's an animal. Now, look, I only did 51 sides last year, but people think I did 500 sides by the way I market it, and that's what I want. I want people to think that. So I'm using YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even now, believe it or not, TikTok. And so I'm trying to incorporate all these things for social to really help boost things for me. Plus, you want to use your database. And then one of the big things that I've been doing, trying to hunt down business this year is, obviously getting word of mouth from past customers and referrals, which is the biggest. But you want to if there's not a lot of expireds in the area, I mean, listen, out of those 51 sales, a third of them were expired. So they are still out there. You just have to get them and get people in the know and make them think you're the guy. And whether you call ones that are 2 years old or 4 years old and tell them what the market's changed dramatically, you got to be the guy that's calling these people, letting them know it's out there. But also this geographical farming with phone calls, like, hey, the Sims up the street just sold their home. They put it on. It was sold in 2 days. They got 44,000 over asking. Congratulations. I just wanted to let you know what the neighborhood was doing. Have you guys ever thought about selling in this crazy market? And so those kind of phone calls are pretty powerful around a just sold. So, besides doing your open houses and being there present and hitting out the flyers and getting your name out there and looking professional, those phone calls afterwards are key to getting more houses in that neighborhood that are people that are thinking about doing it. Additionally, calling your database. Again, this isn't my idea. I don't take credit for this, but I just saw this the other day where Tom was saying, do 60 days of 60 CMAs. Go in your database of people that have bought in the last 4 or 5 years and say, hey, on average, the home's appreciated. So just so you guys have a number, on average, you can use this in your thing. Last year from today, on average, the average home in the U.S. has increased by $57,000. $57,000, the average home. Your home may have increased more. So sometimes that's enough to stop a conversation with that. Like, you got to be kidding me. 57,000, that's on average in the U.S. So doing these little CMAs, 60 days of 60 CMAs, which is just, I'm going to pick a person, I'm going to do a CMA, I'm going to email to them, I'm going to text them that I just sent a CMA, take a look at it, I'm going to call you tomorrow. And they say that if you do that, out of those 60, you'll get at least five new listings that people will decide to sell. Because look, most consumers have an idea what they think the market is, but they don't know. They think their home might be worth 200,000 more. You're like, I'll get you 220 more. Like, I'll get 10% more than that in this marketplace. And I've seen it myself. All last year I was on listings that people who didn't sell before who go, do you think it's at least worth 3? I'm like, 3? It's probably 350, dude. You know what I mean? And then they think you're the superhero. Whoa, Mr. Sold, And they tell
and that's part of being in the know, right? Like, you show up with real information, real data. That's going to help them out. And all this advice is great. Larry Reed, he says agents need to do more role play. You must be prepared. I think that aligns with what you're talking about, is that the market is shifting, but there's some elementary foundational things that you still do. I bet you blew people's minds when you said that you got business from expireds last year. I bet people are like, what? No, I thought there wasn't any.
I'm always, REDX knows me. I mean, I've been with you guys from the beginning. I've always been what they call a heavy caller. I've always called, for sale by owners, expired listings, just sold calls. But most people know me as an expired guy. I've always done that. It's something that I think that you need to keep doing that for practice, because I think at some point this market will shift and you'll see a lot more of those expireds. And you don't want to be getting into it at that point.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. You want to train to get ready. So when that hits, which I think will be pretty soon, actually, when that market shifts, it shifts like this. It doesn't happen over a course of 5 years. It happens almost overnight. And when it shifts, that ball shifts where we have Now we have more inventory. Homes aren't selling. Sellers have to drop the price to compete with other sellers. That's the market where we start calling those expireds and being that, again, the guy who knows what to do. In any market, you got to know what to do. You have to look confidently go in there and give these people straight advice. And it can't be bullshit. It's got to be real advice. It has to have facts behind it. So when you have this data and you go in there very confident, you are the professional. They believe you, you know?
So you're still calling expireds right now, and maybe heavier on old expireds going back to a couple years. Have your scripts or what you say to them, has that changed at all because of the market? Do you stick to the tried and true stuff? What's some advice you'd give someone who's right now thinking, oh, maybe I should go back and look at my expireds? What are you doing there? Is it different? Is it the same?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I mean, I've been doing so long that I have scripts for old expireds and scripts for new expireds, and I use pretty much the same thing. But honestly, because what Larry said, you just got to role play, even more role play all the time. I don't have to worry about looking at the script to see what question I need to know next. I can listen to the conversation and direct the person where I think we need to go, ultimately to a yes to come over and look at it, or a see you later, you know, I'm not going to sell, and then move on to the next one. Look, you don't get every call you get on. I don't get every call I get on. People seem to think that they see a couple calls on YouTube and they hear about you and go, oh, he can close anybody. That's not the case. I've gone weeks and months without making calls daily and not cutting anything. You know, people, oh, you got to go on an appointment a day. Go ahead, you go on an appointment a day. If it were that easy, you wouldn't be up here coaching me. You'd be out there selling because you're making $2 million a year. So, you know, I'm not taking anything away from people, but what I am saying is sometimes people will give you these expectations that aren't realistic in this kind of a market for calling expireds. You know, you got to go after it. You after it daily. Like I said, a third of those transactions were expired listings, whether they will come from a call or they contacted me and they're expired, they're still expired. You got it? Whether but I daily try to still go after as much as I can.
Yeah, that's great. And I think great advice, and also just keeping those skills sharp, because the market could change and then expireds become even more valuable again. So you also mentioned the geofarming, just listed, just sold. Tell us a little bit more about your strategy there this year in 2022. And do you only use geofarming for just listed, just sold? Do you have any other scripts that you do, or ways that you contact people with those kinds of leads, or what are you doing there?
So it's a good question. So I generally make a rule of thumb that I will, if you use like a mail company like Express Copy, let's say that's a company that I would use, a Quantum Mail. Okay, they have this ability that they can send out cards to a just listed, just sold, and you can pick a hemisphere, or you can do what you want. Through REDX, you can do the same thing. You can geofarm a warning listings. It'll give you a list. You can transport that database over to, not pay for it through Express. Give them the list. They'll mail to those people. And then guess what? That same list is your list to call after. Like, hey, sent a postcard out the other day. Did you see that the Smith sold the home for $40,000 over asking? I just want to get that out there to see if you guys have ever considered that. So that's a double hit where you hit them with mail, then you make the phone call. I found that's been pretty effective. And I'm not saying 2,000 cards. 100 to 150 around one listing. That's it. And then you sit there one day and you do the same thing. And REDX lets you do a pre-programmed message. So if no one picks up, you just leave, when you go to the answers, you clicks on, just hit the button. It leaves the message as if you're live, and just move on to the next one. So you can get through these pretty quickly and go about your day, but you get things done. It's something that, I don't know about you guys, but I can't, since I've been doing this business, it's hard for me to not do something during the day. I want to make sure that every day at least I accomplish something. And that's something you can get done in the morning. And then when, by 8 or 9, 10 o'clock, when you're done with your phone calls, you can go do what you got to do. But that part of the business has been taken care of. So for me in the morning, I'm getting up, I either make phone calls or work on my social media stuff. And then I go to the gym and I come back and I finish what I didn't do. And then I have the rest of the day to do whatever, whether it's appointments or just hang out with my kids, depending on if I got something that day or not,
We got a good question about this strategy here from Sandy. She wants to know, do you have to have just listeds or just solds to send out the cards, or do you have a farmer neighborhood even before just to introduce yourself, or where do you go from there if you don't have a just
listed? No, you don't. I don't know if she's asking that. I think what she's asking is if you don't have a sold in a neighborhood, can you use someone else's sold? I think you absolutely can. Why can't you just inform the public? You're not saying you sold it. That would be in trouble. You're just saying this house was sold. And I would certainly say, I wouldn't say like, hey, we just sold this house for $40,000 above asking. I say this home was just sold $40,000 above asking. The consumer may assume you did that, and that's their assumption, but you're not saying that, so you don't get yourself in trouble. Do you know what I mean? So I would assume that's probably where the question was going. Do you have to have your own sold to do that? No, you don't. You can do that on other people's sold, and I absolutely recommend that because that's an effective way. That's why you see a house go on the market with Caldwell Banker, and then 2 days later, 2 more pop up with Remax and KW. You're like, what happened there? Well, they got an idea. Someone called them or something happened, and they said, let's they're selling this, selling. We're out of here too.
All right, and we have a question about DNC, and I want to. Hey, when we call, and especially with REDX, we mark all those numbers so that you stay compliant and with TCPA. But mailers don't have a DNC. You can mail to a whole neighborhood.
You can mail to the whole neighborhood. I think this is a disclosure that appears on there that says if your house is listed, please disregard this mail.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's on standard on anything that you do real estate. They put that. Most of the companies put that on there.
That's on there. That's good. So I have another question, and we've got a couple more minutes here, and I think going back to some of your first comments and the strategies that people have, NAR says that in the last year, 20% of the active agents are new, just got their license in the last year. So when you say, hey, 75% of the business is getting done by 25% of the agents, a newer agent might just be saying, should I give up now, Deric, or can I become that guy? And what would I need to do to become that agent this year?
Well, I never said that 25% wasn't a new agent. We don't know who was new and who was not. That's just a clump of agents. You see agents come in here and they can knock it out of the park. They can totally not do anything at all, or they can kind of fester somewhere in the middle. I think most agents, when they start, have this misconception that because they're new, no one's going to work with them. Your family's going to want to work with you. People want to give you a shot. I mean, I know guys who are agents and mailmen who work at UPS, who work at Walmart. Like they just do both jobs because they don't make enough income in this business yet, and they want to hold on to what they have, a steady paycheck and insurance. Until they make enough here, they won't do that switch over. So yeah, if you're new and you're worried about like, I'm new and people are going to know I haven't done a ton of deals this year, just always lean on your company. So it's, how many deals did you do? Well, our company did 300 this year or 400 or whatever. We have 10% market share. And if you get pressed for your numbers, then you have to give me numbers. Just say I'm an aggressive guy or a lady, whatever that is, and say, I'm going to work hard. And the nice thing about me is I have nothing but time to give you and babysit this deal, which is what most people want. They want to feel individually, that they're being taken care of versus someone who's doing 400 deals who doesn't really care and has a staff of people that takes care of everything. They never get to talk to them.
Yeah. And I think that's great advice because these new guys coming on, you mentioned teams, you mentioned using team numbers. Earlier, you talked about coaching. I think all of these things are important because a lot of guys get their license and don't know the next step, and
right.
coaching teams relying on those. Yeah. And there's ways to learn that. And those guys can jump in and be in the top 25% right away following, being aggressive and taking the time to learn.
I think your company in particular, I mean, we're on the podcast, so let's talk about it. Your company in particular offers these kind of things for clients. Like not only do we have the software, we have dialers, but you have like coaching videos and you have podcasts. Like you're trying to teach them how to use it so you can be successful, not so that they can fail, but so they can get ahead. And you guys are always coming out with new products. Like you guys have a lot of new stuff coming out that I've heard that I don't know if it's been disclosed on yet, so I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but you have a lot of new things coming on that are going to help people's business grow exponentially in 2022.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for saying that, Deric. And I wanted to add, because we talked about role playing earlier, REDX customers can call our customer service and we have a role play line. We have people dedicated. Wow. So if you want to start your day every morning and call into REDX and say, give me a level 3 difficulty call on an expired script or on a GeoLead script, we've got people dedicated to and that just comes with the service. Like you're a REDX customer, you use it. You don't pay any extra for that. So
yeah, it's nice that you guys are always thinking, what else can we do to make this work for these customers? Because a lot of companies, and there's a lot of great companies out there that do what you guys do, but you guys, that's why I like associating myself with you guys. You guys always have value added stuff, which is what I like to give my clients, value added. What else can I do besides just getting a home on the market?
And so we've kind of talked about the changing. Well, we've started the year the same as 2021, but we also know change is coming and there's a lot of things going on. What are some signs or what are some strategies you have that allow you to pivot as the market changes?
So for me, I'm doing, like I said, I'm always working on social. I'm always trying to come up with new things because that's like a database, right? So that's like a database without saying it's a database. I do a lot of videos I add to social. I do a lot of posts that are you know, about real estate, but also inspirational or funny or stuff like that. I try to really make my presence known out there on that. And I always tell people, you know, you got to clean up your social page. Everything has to be congruent. So you have to have your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Facebook. Everything has to match. Where it's the same profile picture, the same links. Everything has to look awesome. I've added something called. I'll give you a couple things that I've done recently that have helped a little bit, especially with making phone calls. Is I bought a digital business card. It's $80. It has, once you send it, after you talk to somebody, sometimes you text them. I can send them the link to that. That has all my contacts. It has all my, you know, social media links. It has reviews about me. It's really world class, and it costs $80 a year. And it's crazy that more people don't use this. So it's just like, hey, I'll just text you my business. You know, if you don't have a card on you, somebody like, what's your number? I'll just text you my digital business card. They open it up. As soon as you open it up, the screen pops up. It says save your information, and all your stuff goes right into their phone without them doing anything. So they can always call on you. But then anytime they want you, they can look up all your links and your, you know, pictures of homes you sold. And I think I have like 8 or 9 5-star Google reviews that I picked to put on there, the best of the best that you can put on there. So it just looks really world class, especially to someone that you haven't met before on the phone, like an Expire or Fizbo, when you say, hey, I'm going to come over, I'll shoot you my information. So you have it. So if anything changes before I see you today at 5, you can call me and we can schedule that a different time. In the social avenue, I'm always doing more videos. I'm going to be doing a challenge coming up next month, which is going to be, if you guys know me at the beginning of this podcast, I said, it's your boy Deric coming to you live. You don't know how many people that I've sold houses for that have, when I get there, say, it's your boy Deric coming to you live. Like, they, not only them, but even my kids at school, their friends see it and tell my friends, like, they're trying to like break the balls a little bit, like, oh, it's your boy Deric coming to you live. So it's just something goofy. But I'm going to do a contest next month that's going to, and someone from my dad, an agent from Instagram, I think it was, or Facebook, gave me the idea. And I was like, it's actually a pretty good idea, which is to have everyone send in a clip of the best impression of that. And, you know, it'll be like a little, the $500 pot, a winner of first place or something like that. So we're going to see that's going to start next month. You guys can certainly be involved in that. Kids, you can do and you don't have to be an agent. You don't have to be a seller or a buyer. It's just something funny that people can do and get involved, and it gets your name out there a little more. So come up with little ideas. You know, that was an idea that someone gave me on something like a contest. But you guys can do other stuff there just to get your name out there, stuff that you can try to do to make yourself stand out a bit more, because you want to be in that public eye as the person who does the most, or is it known to do a lot. So for me, I'm definitely going to work on that. I'm going to be doing some more Geofarm calls. I got to be honest with you, I got so busy last year that I always sent out the flyers, but I didn't always make those calls, which I should have done, because I probably would have had a lot more business than what I had. So this year is going to be adding more to that and just making sure that my schedule is straight. You know, get up, get to the gym, get to the kids at school, get to the gym, get my calls done, just so I have it like planned out every day that I got to check things off a little list to get things done. And just, I think a lot of this for me, which changed in the last 2 years, is mindset. You know, you just got to know that in your heart, this is going to happen. Now, if you believe in God or Allah, Buddha, you know, the universe, Mother Nature, whatever that higher power you believe in, that someone's, you know, looking out for you, know that, just have faith that if you do the right things will happen, and act the right way. You know, you want to keep that karma level goal. A lot of people believe in karma. Like, I believe in karma. Well, if you believe in karma, you can do the right things to get you in that right avenue. So, example, I'll make this quick. I know we're running out of time. Like when you go food shopping, put the carriage away in the cart where it goes. If you find something in your carriage that you don't want, go back in aisle 9 and put it back. Be nice to people. Believe me, that karma comes around in business too. So if you can like let someone go at the light, like whatever, just go. Like even if you're in a rush, try to do those nice things, and that nice stuff will come back to you. And there, Robert, am I on my own? I've been talking for like 5 minutes. I don't even know. I'm assuming he's still there. It's still going. I don't know why he's out. I saw some kind of red lines on there, so I'll keep it rolling. So if you guys are looking for that one message to keep yourselves going, oh, you're back.
I'm back.
All right, good. All
We
right.
lost our camera for a second,
That's
but
okay. I kept
not
the
our
show
audio.
going.
No, I was listening the whole time and I kept trying to say something. My audio wasn't on either, but I love it because there's been a theme throughout, right? Being the guy in the know and being on the go, getting your name out there, being consistent across your platforms and being ready to pivot, but sticking with the fundamentals. Some really good stuff, Deric. We are running out of time. We're coming right up towards the end there.
Okay.
And so I want people to be able to know how they can find you if they can get, if they want to know more about you, join your challenge that you have coming up. Where will they find out more about you?
Yeah. So you guys, you can just type in my name in Google and you're going to see a million things come up. So if you just type in, and it's spelled a little differently, you guys will see it there. You can also go to my website, DericLipski.com. There is a link for agents and a link for sellers and a link for buyers. You can also look at that. That's actually a funnel. If you guys know what a funnel is, ClickFunnels. It's actually a funnel to get people to want to list with you or buy with you. So you can go to that, even if you just want to check it out and have your IT guy copy that. But that's a source to get a hold of me. All my contacts are on there. If for some reason you can't get on there, because sometimes I want you to register information because we want to capture information, just type my name in Google and you'll see all my contact info. I should be running that on my social media platform. So find me on Instagram. I think Instagram, I'm D Lipski. On Facebook, I'm Deric Lipski. It might be Deric, Mr. Soul Lipski. YouTube, I think it's Deric Lipski. It's pretty congruent across all of them. I think the only one that's not is the Instagram, and I couldn't change that when I had it because someone else already took Deric Lipski.
Well, good. It's been super valuable information. And like I said, I know our agents, we had so many comments, some good questions. If we didn't answer your question, you can continue the conversation on our Facebook page, Elite Prospectors. And we'll get back to you if you email us at marketing@theredx.com. We've loved having you. We've loved having you on, Deric. We've loved everyone that's been on today. We hope you join us next week at the same time and place. And you can follow us and listen to us anywhere you listen to and download your podcasts. And just subscribe at theredx.com/podcast. And you'll always know when the next one's coming up. Thanks again, you guys. Thanks, Deric. And everyone have a great rest of your day.